Welcome to today's lesson on synthetic division. We've already covered long division in a previous video, so if you haven't seen that, go back and watch that first. Synthetic division is a method that's probably easier than long division, but you can only use it when dividing by linear terms. So it can be quicker, but you can only use it on certain questions. Long division might take a little bit longer, but you can use it for every question. So there is a bit of a trade-off. Some people just only learn long division, so they can answer every question. Once students know about synthetic division, they'll often want to use it for the easier questions. So, as a reminder, we're going to be using something from the factor theorem today. So, as you can see there, if x plus 3 is a factor, remember that means that minus 3 is a root or a solution or a zero of that question. And similarly, if x minus 4 is a factor, then that means that x equals 4 is going to be a root. To the side there, you can see the two questions I'm going to look at today. So I'm going to look at a quadratic divided by a linear, and I'm also going to look at a cubic divided by a linear. The questions can actually go up to quartics for the AICE as well. So let's have a look then at our very first question. And actually remember, you can also, if you can factor, you should just go ahead and factor. So for questions like this, notice that once you have factored, then actually two of the terms actually cancel, and the answer would just be 2x minus 1. So that's actually the simplest method of all if you can factor. Now, as we have covered long division, if you want to try this question by long division first, then you can go ahead and do so. Perhaps pause the video, and let me go ahead and reveal the answer so you can see it now. So it divides by 2x minus 1 with a remainder of 0. Now, let's try that same question again, but this time using synthetic division. So I put the answer up on the left of the screen for you to look at, and then we're going to answer it on the right-hand screen so you can check to see how it works. So first thing to notice is this was positive 4. So the factor theorem thing that I talked about earlier, we're going to use negative 4 when we do synthetic. We're going to use the root of the question. These numbers here, the 2, 7, and the negative 4, come from the coefficients within the question. So we just copy down those numbers there. Now, I would recommend putting a box around the number that's the root, just to remind yourself that's not part of the actual thing that you're dividing into, but that's the number you're going to use. Now, for synthetic division then, this is a lot quicker than actually doing it by long division, as you'll see in a second. So first step is we're just going to bring down this first number here. So the first number that we see, we bring down. Like we do with long multiplication, we multiply these two things together, so negative 4 times 2 is negative 8. And notice we put it in the next column there. Now, unlike long division, though, we don't subtract, we actually add at this point. So 7 add negative 8 is negative 1. We then do the multiplication again, so we multiply these two things together. So negative 4 times 1 is positive 4. And negative 4 add 4 is 0. Now, we have to be able to interpret what this answer means. The last number that we get, so this 0, is your remainder, which notice is the same as down here. This negative 1 is just negative 1, and this 2 term here actually isn't just 2, it's 2x. So we have to go back and put in all the coefficients that we removed when we initially did synthetic division. If there was an additional term to the left of the 2, then that would be how many x squareds we have. Notice it's a lot quicker to do. There's no algebra involved. It's merely just manipulation of numbers, which should make this method a little bit easier. Now, let's try a second question for this. This time I went with a cubic equation, but importantly, I made sure I deliberately missed out a term here. Notice there's no term for x squareds here. It just goes straight to x. So when we're answering that question, we have to switch it so that it does actually have that there. And once we've done that, we can just use our normal long division method. And if you want to check your answer at the end, you should get to 27. This time I have not put the key terms at the top here, so you won't be able to check that. But work through the question if you want to, and then we're going to use that answer for what we're really doing today, which is our synthetic division. You can actually see here, this was the answer if you want to check it now. And look how much writing was here. And if you tried to do this question, it was very time consuming. Let's see how quick it is with synthetic. So I've got my negative 3 here. So I'm going to use positive 3 when I divide. And 1x cubed, I have my 1. Notice it's 0x squared, so I have to put the 0 there. 7x, so I put 7. And negative 21, I just put negative 21. If you only put 1, 7, and negative 21, you'll get a totally different question. That would actually be x squared plus 7x minus 21 divided by x minus 3. So those steps that we followed in the last step. First part, you bring down that first number, 1. You then multiply back. 1 times 3 is 3. Add the answers together. 0 add 3 is 3. Multiply back. 3 times 3 times 3 is 9. And 7 add 9 is 16. 3 times 16 is 48. And if I add those together, I get 27. So my remainder for this is 27. I have positive 16. The 3 is how many x's I have, so that's 3x. And the 1 is how many x squareds I have, so 1x squared. And notice that's exactly the same answer that we have up here. And notice that the remainder is also the same. And what you should definitely notice is that method's also a lot quicker to use than what we saw when we did this actually by using long division. So if you find it easier, if you are divided by a linear, that might be a method you want to go for. And that's the end for this video. Make sure you go practice. If you need some additional help, all my links are down below. And that's it for this video.